Hello everyone, welcome back to Story Studios, and this is part 2 of my 3-part video series on how to start building MOCs. In my part 1 video, and if you haven't watched that, you should watch that right now, and then come back and watch this video, we talked about brick supply, we talked about starting, because I think there are 3 things that someone needs to have in order to build LEGO MOCs. The first one is obviously to have stuff to build the MOCs with, because if you don't have bricks, then you can't build MOCs, and if you can't build MOCs, then why are you even watching this video? you can't do it. In part 1, we talked about brick supply specifically and how you can get there and how you can have bricks to build MOCs, how you can make that possible as cheap as you can get, like without trying to spend as much money as possible, because let me tell you, like building big size MOCs, that's expensive, but it doesn't have to be expensive. LEGO MOC building does not have to be expensive. You can start cheap, you can start small, and there's a lot of great tips I give in that video, so if you want to check that out, you should go check that out. Anyway, this is part 2, and part 2, the second thing that I think that people need in order to build MOCs is inspiration / building technique. It's a clean slate, everyone, and part of that is really invigorating. Like there's something about that that's really exciting, that like it's a clean slate, there's a drawing board, you know, it's all on you. But there's something intimidating about that because we're so used to instruction booklets, we're so used to like being handheld, and I think there's something that we need to go over. It's called the zone of proximal development, and this is going to be very integral in what I'm going to talk about. I don't know if you all know this, but I have an undergraduate degree in a Bachelor's of Science of Music Education, and within that degree in music education, it's practically a degree in music and education. It's like a dual major almost. But in the education part of that degree, I had to go through a lot of like adolescent psychology courses, development courses, like pedagogical courses, and teaching styles, and all the teaching methods, and all this stuff. I took a philosophy of music education, a philosophy of education, essentially. And one of the things that is focused a lot in these books is just developmental of how people grow and how people advance and just expand their knowledge, their skill set, is this thing called zone of proximal development. There are essentially 3 areas in which a person can be in when completing a task or when they have a task in front of them. There is sort of like what I'm going to call it the comfort zone. It's like, I know I can do this. It's as if you were to be given, well, let's say you're my age, you're given a sheet of paper that says 2 + 2 equals, and then they ask you to solve that. That's a comfort zone task for me to do. Because I can do simple addition, it's obviously 5. I'm joking. It's fish. Anyway, jokes aside, the other zone, the opposite end of the spectrum, it's a task in which you cannot be expected to do it at your current state. So if someone were to tell me, I want you to go underwater at this harbor, I want you to fix this melding issue, I want you to meld this part of like the dock, I'd be like, no clue what, like no idea. I've never scuba dived before, I've never worked a welding machine. I know some concepts of what welding is, I have no idea how it works differently underwater though. No idea how to do this, I'd probably kill myself. Dumb ways to die. Now, there's this thing called zone of proximal development, and that is a place where you could do something if someone was there guiding you. I'm a fairly decent chef, I would say. Like I have cooked and baked. I've watched plenty of baking and cooking videos on YouTube. I have worked at a catering company the past 7 years. I have experience in the food industry. I know how to do basic knife skills, and I know how some foods go together, etc. But I don't know how to make pan-seared salmon over succotash with apple fritters or something. Yeah. But I have the tools in order to get there. And so a zone of proximal development example would be me maybe pulling up a YouTube video and watching someone going step by step on how to make this. And I would probably be able to get somewhat close. There's something called practice makes perfect, of course, but there is a person who is guiding me. I have a foundational level of what I need to do in order to do this next step that's a little bit out of my reach. But after I do it, then I'll be able to say, I know how to make this now. The next time I do it, it'll be even better. Zone of proximal development is where something is not completely out of your reach. It's not completely foreign to you. You have some basic concepts of what you need to know, but then there's someone there who's helping you extend your reach, sort of like push your bounds. what does that have to do with LEGO MOC building? Well, lucky for you, you do have a comfort zone when it comes to LEGO MOC building, and that is following an instruction booklet. Every single LEGO set that is made is a MOC. It's just a MOC that's made by people who work for LEGO, and so they get to put the brand on it. But every single LEGO set that's made, it has to be made from scratch. So every set that you build comes from someone's imagination. And all these instruction booklets that you have are the tools in which people figure out how to build what they have built. And if you follow it, you should be able to get there. Now, you're like, Nathan, I know how to build from an instruction booklet, but I'm trying to figure out how to make my own MOC. Then how does this translate into that? Well, let me tell you, every time you build a LEGO set, you're understanding how LEGO works, you understand how other people use pieces and how they get to a certain result. You can see building techniques in LEGO manuals. There are several times where I have taken a picture of a page in a LEGO manual because I like the idea. I like how they got to a certain result. It's like, oh, LEGO used this, use these pieces to make a cabinet, and I like how this cabinet looks, and I want to use that in maybe a later MOC or a variation of that.
That is against the instruction!
If I were to compare this to music, a composer could learn how to better orchestrate music is to literally transcribe a piece. And what do I mean by that? I mean literally take a score, like take a maybe Beethoven Symphony No. 5, da 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 da.
And they're off with a 4-note theme.
Write out every single line of the music. Now, it's not plagiarism because you're not trying to sell that as your own, and you would never be able to trick someone thinking that that is your own. But by just writing out the music and seeing how Beethoven has orchestrated this, you get to see, whenever I want to convey something similar to maybe this part of Beethoven 5, I can look back and I can sort of see, how does Beethoven get that effect? Similar to Lego building, you just keep on building Lego, and you're just like, this is a cool building technique, or this is something cool that I would like to use eventually. And just remember to recall back to that moment when you're building that Lego set, and then incorporate that into your own Lego set. Now, there are many other avenues you can go beyond, because I think the first step is, yes, just build Lego. Just buy Lego sets and build them, and really pay attention to how they are being built and the concept of how they're being built. My custom ATT walker, I started the framework based off of the ATT walker, like the Lego one, like the instruction booklet, like the Technic body. Now, I wanted it to be shaped differently, so I didn't copy it, but I used the same sort of Technic structure idea that, okay, this is the skeleton of this vehicle, and if I want to make my vehicle bigger, longer, wider here, with more girthier here maybe, then I'm gonna have to change the Technic build, but it's still going to be sort of based off of that, the concept of that. You start with Technic, you start with that skeletal structure, and then you build on top of that, and then you put panels on and all that stuff. So you can learn a lot from just building Lego sets, but you have to pay attention. You can't just build sort of on autopilot, because then you're not taking in any information. You have to be attentive while building Lego sets and really try to understand, sort of reverse what the creator was thinking when they were building it. Okay, here's the end concept, the end product. This is where we start. Why do we start here? Work your way back, and then zone in, work your way forwards, and see how that, continues. Now, there's another way to do this, and it's watch other MOC builders. And the thing with other MOC builders, some of them have instruction booklets that you can purchase, which are really cool, because then you get to see more people on how they build their sets, and that's similar to just building Lego sets. Now, some MOC builders don't give instruction booklets to their MOCs, because sometimes they're just free building and they don't want to. I don't have an instruction booklet for this MOC, and I'm going to use this as an example because I saw an Asian restaurant MOC on an Instagram reel. And I was like, that's cool. That looks cool. I want to make something like that. And so I've never built a modular building before. Like I've never built a mock modular building before in my life. So I didn't really know where to start. I didn't know how to start. I didn't know how to go about it. And so one of the easiest things to do is just copy someone else's idea. Of course, you don't want to plagiarize it. You want to make sure that you give them credit where credit is due. And I did put my own spin to it. I did change a lot of things because once you start going, it's like, okay, well, I think I want to do this differently. And then you do it differently. And there you go. But this was purely an exercise for me. I saw this as an exercise so that I could learn how to better build modular buildings in the future. And now I know because by just looking at someone else's work and then copying it. And this is good practice because they don't have an instruction booklet. So you have to go by sight. You have to think a lot about like what Lego pieces would they have used. And I think this doesn't just help you when it comes to build technique, but I think it helps with problem solving because I didn't have all the pieces that this person had. So I had to make pieces that I had work with the pieces that they had in their building of this. So I eventually made this, and I did change some things in the interior, but a lot of it stayed true to how they did it, and it was a really fun experiment. It was a really fun exercise for me. So I would really highly suggest looking at other mock builders and start small because this was a huge feat. Like it was a pretty big set, so maybe you're not used to that, maybe find someone who has built just a tiny mock, like maybe something that's 16 by 16 studs. And with the pieces that you have, try to recreate it if you like it. And that's another thing. If you find a mock that you like, try to recreate it. You should not find a mock and you don't like it and try to recreate it because that's not going to be fun. That's not going to be amusing or entertaining for you. That's busy work. We don't want busy work. We want something that actually gets you excited. This should be exciting. Lego mock building. This is good stuff. And so copy other mock builders. That's one thing that I would highly suggest because they use techniques that a lot of Lego builders don't use at the Lego company. I love Solid Brick Studios. I love his mock weekly updates because a lot of the times he will go through his thought process and also prototypes of certain builds of how he got to his final prototype, like the official model, and then like the beginning prototypes. I like channels like him because he goes through the thought process and he sort of helps his viewers on how to do stuff similar to what he's doing. So I really like that about Solid Brick Studio. You can follow Build Technique Instagram accounts is another thing. One Instagram account that I really love, highly suggest that you follow them, is Tips and Bricks. Now, Tips and Bricks, they give like a lot of, the posts that they do sometimes are based around reviews and certain building techniques that they really like about sets, and then they'll like point them out to you, so they sort of do what you should be doing when you're building a Lego set. And sometimes they look at mocks and they look at certain building techniques, and then they explain how the building technique works, why it was used, all that stuff. It's really great stuff, and their posts are very fascinating. If you're a Lego mock builder like myself, you will find this very interesting. And I've actually incorporated some of the tips and techniques that they have highlighted in their posts into some of my mock builds. And it's just, there are a plethora of posts on there, and it's just like, oh, like I've never thought about using this. And the best thing is that once you start copying these and once you start looking at them, once you start having more experience, you can start saying, I like this, I think I can make it my own, or maybe even better. And then you can start doing variations on certain techniques that you see, sort of making it your own. And it's not stealing. It's not stealing, because building techniques are literally like they are the tools of how you come to the product. Now, what is stealing is taking someone else's idea, someone else's creation, and claiming it as your own, which you will be able to do with your own idea. But first, you just need to get some foundational building techniques down so that you have more tools in your toolbox to use when you're finally at the point where you're like, okay, I'm done building other people's ideas, I'm done building other people's sets, I'm going to try to build my own set. And obviously for me, I have modular buildings. I'm not at that point yet. I'm not at that point yet where I'm like, I'm going to build my own set. Maybe after I do something similar to this, like maybe if I copy 2 more mock builders, I might feel more ready to then go out and build something that is completely 100% my own, because then I'll have the more tools on how to build modular buildings so that I can build a modular building for myself. It's all, if people think like, I just get stuck though. Like I just get stuck. I don't know how to like build this. I don't know how to do this. It's not because you're not creative, because you have the idea in your head. And if you were not creative, you wouldn't even have an idea. But you have the idea, you just don't know how to get this in here onto brick on the table. And that's because of the lack of tools in your toolbox, the lack of methods and building techniques that you have. So you have all this brick supply, as we talked about in part 1. Part 2 is now putting that brick supply to use, and you want to be practicing, you want to be attentive to different ways that other people are using those same bricks that you have to achieve various multiple results, which will help you in the long run. Create small challenges. I love doing this with my friends. This is something that's fun. You have like a loose brick. You all have like the same brick to work with, like just a huge pile in the center of the table. And then someone says, oh, you guys have 5 minutes to make the best tree. Or you have 5 minutes to make the best car. Or 5 minutes to make the best house, or whatever it is. And then you time it, and then you build it, and then, you can do fun prizes like candy or something. And like one of your friends can like judge who has the best tree, who has the best house or whatnot, and rank them. Just some friendly competition, you don't have to do competition. You can just do it for fun and just see what you guys come up with. That's also cool. But if you're competitive like me, everything's a competition. And I'm gonna segue this into the next part that I think this is really helpful, is start small. Because when you have 5 minutes to build something, you're not gonna build something like this. You're gonna build something small. But if you start small, that's just like great baby steps. You don't want to start big. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Remember, zone of proximal development, ZPD. If you've never built something big before by yourself, you don't want to start building something big, because then you're gonna spurt out. You want to gradually scaffold. This is called scaffolding in education. You want to scaffold. You want to set yourself up for success. You want to place stepping stones so you can build on top of that. Start small. Because I like building small, because you can pay attention to minute details. And what is building big? It's building small multiple times. Like, building big doesn't look good unless it has the care and intimate detail that small has. And so starting small is really something that you should do. Wow, I should make a master class for LEGO MOC. I guess I kind of am with these videos, but I should really just do a whole series. This is good stuff, Nathan. Good stuff. Quote me on that. Quote me. Building big is building small multiple times. Sawyer Studios, there we go. The final step is to experiment. You have these building techniques. It's time to start creating your own building techniques. I have created my own building techniques in certain sets that I have never... Now, when I say created, I don't mean I think I'm the first person to do this, because let's be honest, like, I'm not special. You're not special in that regard. The likelihood of you doing something that someone else has never done before is very unlikely. It might have come from your head, yes. Like, there are building techniques I've done that I've never seen anyone else do, but let's be honest, there's probably like thousands of people in this world who have built Lego who have done the same thing that I have done. But it's still rewarding, whether or not you are the only person who's ever built Lego this way, which once again probably isn't. You still come to that solution without the help of someone else. And that's the thing that you should be focusing on. That you have now problem solved without outside help. And when you take away the outside help, this has now become the comfort zone. And you're no longer in the zone of proximal development, because now you are experimenting yourself. You yourself can, I guess, you can call yourself a master builder when you start figuring out things using the tools that you have been given when you're in the zone of proximal development. And now it's in your comfort zone. And because it's in your comfort zone now, you can find out, so what's in my zone of proximal development? And this is how we develop, this is how we grow, this is how we continue to improve and so forth and so forth. So there we are. That is my short video, or maybe not so short, of building techniques, inspiration, how you can better your skills of making Lego MOCs. And if you want to see some Lego MOCs that I've done, I have plenty of that on the channel. I have my Lego building MOC playlist, whatever it's called, and you can see all the videos that I have. Some of them are alternate builds, some of them are like Star Wars, the Clone Wars MOC, some of them are vehicles and whatnot. So go check that out. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope this video helped. I just trying to give my knowledge, pass it on to you guys. So I really hope that this contributed. So share this video, subscribe, click the bell notification, join the Discord, all that stuff. And if you want to see more videos like this specifically, maybe if you want a deeper dive on the process of building techniques and stuff, then let me know in the comment section down below. If I get enough comments on that, then maybe I will make this a 4-part video series instead of a 3-part video series. But until then, thank you so much, this is Source Studios. Please stick around for part 3 of how to begin LEGO MOC building. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Peace out.